I'm an American and I'm a Zionist. What are you talking?
Well, so what? Like you say, you're a Zionist, like of what? Like of what degree? Because I'm speaking mainly of a particular entity that controls, really both political parties, really.
Interesting. So I guess you don't know the definition of being a Zionist. I just simply believe in the Jewish people's right to self-determination and the right to have their own state. Just like I would believe that Japanese people should have the right to Japan, or Spanish people should have the right to Spain. But go.
Yeah.
And those people should have the right to Indo.
There are many types of Zionism.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, there's like you might consider yourself a Zionist, right? But and you're an American, but you're putting America first, right? Wouldn't that be your?
I'm definitely I'm an individual first person.
Okay. Okay, so that's even better. So yeah, so my issue with Zionists or Zionism, when that mindset is that, and specifically, right, the entity that controls, like I said, both political parties, they, from what I'm seeing and what I've looked at, they do not like the American. They don't like America. You know, they just don't. They don't.
Well, hold on.
They don't.
Hold on. I'm fairly pro-American, and I'm also pro-Israel. And I like civilizations that have like some common threads around desiring to protect their citizenry. I admire this about the U.S. and Israel. There seems to be a lot in common, and I tend to oppose uncivilized societies that would intentionally target innocent civilians, especially women and children. And so I couldn't be happier to identify as a Zionist.
Well, I'm thinking more of the elites, the elitist aspect. I mean, do you consider yourself an elite?
No, I'm definitely not an elitist. But you said that Zionists hate Americans. Where's your evidence?
Let's see. I have several clips of rabbis, right? And they work hand in hand with people of the IDF and other aspects of the governmental structure over there in Israel. And they claim that they would love to see America get blown to smithereens, basically. Not their words, not the exact words, but pretty much that's basically what they're saying. So,
so what are the exact words they're using?
Oh, they're basically saying that Israel gotta be, or America gotta be destroyed so that their state of Israel can be fully in power. So basically,
who says this? Mm-hmm. Who says this?
A couple of Jewish rabbis have said this. High level ones have said this before.
You give me a source on that.
I'd have to send the clips over.
Well, this was part of your argument. I mean, you came up on a stage and did this conversation. You're bringing it up, but I'm just saying, like you said that you've heard rabbis say it. If I were to tell you that, hey, I heard Dolly Parton say something, and if you were to say, oh, can you show me where Dolly Parton said that? I'd go look for where it was that I heard Dolly Parton saying that. Can you find that?
I got them, but I'm just throwing it out there because I don't know if people are aware of this.
So who are these rabbis?
They're pretty high up.
Would you say that you're an expert when it comes to Israel?
I would say that I've done enough research. I'm not going to say that I'm a super expert.
When's the last time you've been to Israel?
I haven't been to Israel. But as far as I understand certain aspects of the region and the military.
What is your interest in a place that you've never cared enough to?
My interest is understanding that, the president, and actually all presidents, based off of what Netanyahu said, that they have them in their pockets. So if I understand that there's a outside source, right, that is controlling this country, but this country is supposed to be America first, then we have to understand that this entity that's controlling America, America's really not autonomous. This country being controlled by a whole other state, which is the reason why.
Would you say you identify? Well, hold on a second. Hold on. Would you say you identify as Black Hebrew Israelite?
No, because the Black Hebrew is like terminology, is a made-up FBI, CIA term.
So, how do you identify?
Like I identify as being an Israelite. I can't say Black Hebrew Israelite.
Okay, so forget about Black. Are you Hebrew?
Yeah, I'm an Israelite.
Okay, how about this? Why don't you tell me your favorite verse of the Torah, but read it to us?
Wait, say that again?
Take your favorite verse from the Torah and read it to us in Hebrew.
I mean, I can read it in Paleo Hebrew, the original Hebrew. I'm not going to read it in the Yiddish/Assyrian Hebrew. I'm not going to do that.
Okay, so what dialect is Hebrew?
I mean, I mainly look. I'll study the Yiddish, Hebrew that these people speak, but mainly I deal with the ancient Hebrew.
All right, let's hear Paleo Hebrew. Your favorite verse. This will be fun.
I don't feel like that's necessary. I can reference the words.
Do you not speak Hebrew?
Oh yeah, I do, but I don't think that's necessary because people are not going to.
No,
I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because I'm not.
The Yiddish was invented around the year 1200, and the Bible was written before the year 1200. So my last chance I read the Bible, it was in Hebrew, really Hebrew.
Yeah.
So why don't you read us Hebrew?
Yeah, there's no vowel sounds in the original Hebrew language.
Go ahead, read it. I can read it without vowels.
Yeah, read it with all the consonants. Go ahead.
You want the vowels? We'll give you the vowels.
No, how about I just read it verbatim for English? You know what I'm saying? Because there's people that probably.
Hold on. Listen. When Spanish people come in here, I ask them, hey, can you read something to me in Spanish? They'll say, sure. If Japanese people come in here, I'll say, hey, can you read that to me in Japanese? They'll read it in Japanese. How come when somebody that says that they're an Israelite that speaks Hebrew, and I ask you to speak Hebrew, all of a sudden your Hebrew disappears?
No, because I think this is more semantical than anything. What's the point of doing that?
I don't.
You know what I mean?
How about I make my point more clear? I think you're a Jew-hating fraud, and I don't think that you speak Hebrew, and you can't speak it, so you're just going to say that you don't want to. I think that's a little closer to the truth.
So I never said you're Jewish person.
No, which Jewish people can you hate?
No, I just sat up here and said I despise the elitist aspect of Zionism. You know what I'm saying?
I have no fucking clue what you're saying. Neither do you.
No, I mean, okay, so for me to sit up here and say I hate Zionism, right? The elitist aspect of it. That's to sit up here. So we're gonna equate that and try to compound that with hating every single Jewish person. That's not factual.
Is it how do I
It's close. Yeah, it's close.
I don't know. I think we're getting off to me. Amin? Do you know what Amin means? Amin.
means?
It's French for friend.
I need to say, repeat after me. Onion means what? Does that help? No. You obviously don't know any sort of.
And tell moms.
Onion means. Onion means I. Even better, you know what? Here's an easy one. Abba. Do you know what Abba means?
Listen, bro. An Italian movie. Italian
No,
moms.
I'm asking you. Okay, thanks, double agent.
Before we get to the true
Italian
rules of
movie.
self-defense, before we get
What is
to
it?
how
What
to
is it?
handle
What is
Israel's
Abba mean?
diplomatic relations and the morale of the IDF and how to handle the enemies outside and inside,
Jesus Christ.
we need to be comfortable to
You guys are arbitrary.
You're just anti-Zionist. You're just what's a Zionist?
Yeah, I'm not sitting up here saying I'm anti-Jew. I don't hate all Jewish people. I just hate fucking elites, just like I
There's
hate.
a lot of
We
Jews,
also
right?
called it our safe
You
Okay.
hate me,
our
you're a
land.
Native
So
American
to
hater.
every
You hate
Jew
Native
everywhere
Americans. You
in the
work
world
with the
is
Italian
deemed
mafia
essential
in
connection
the
to
fucking
our
casino,
land,
undermining the casino that the Native Americans have, according to what people have told me about you.
connection, how Israel can
Maybe let's go for a conversation over here. I asked you a straightforward question. If you're interested in engaging as a good faith actor, okay, let's see if we can do that. What's a Zionist?
A Zionist is the elitist state of Israel that was established in 1948, right? And then you have people who go under the ideology of that, but some of them don't understand the whole complex.
So let's ask a question. Let me ask you a question. Where did you find that definition?
No, I can just break it down for myself. I don't need to go look up the definition of anything. To be honest with you. Listen. I can look at the definition, but I can define. So there's certain things that you can define for yourself because you can understand what things come from, especially when you understand the origins of things, where things come from.
I think that's really well. I think that actually just hit the nail on the head. Okay. It is really important to be able to understand the etymology, where the word comes from, what it actually represents, before you start using the word, which can actually be really highly offensive and inaccurate as well. And that's why I'm asking you, like, if we're going to have a conversation, let's have some common ground, at least. So you've made up a definition of what Zionism is. What if I was to make up a definition of what Black Hebrew Israelite is? I can say, well, it's actually just a cult, a nonsensical cult that hates Jews. Okay, you wouldn't be too happy about that, would you? I'll answer a question. You wouldn't. Well, okay, well, you can care about it. Well, I'm not attacking you like that. I'm just giving you an example. Okay, and I can make up some information. I can say, look, these Hebrew Israelites are just started by a couple of criminals who just were Jew haters. And just want to be able to create a cult. But I'm not going to say that, of course. But you see what I mean? It's just so important to be able to find definitions, which is exactly what you're saying of what Zionism is. And you're being incredibly either intellectually dishonest, incredibly disrespectful. So, which one is it?
Real quick. So, are you okay with the elites? Because I'm pretty sure
No, we're not. I'm happy to have that conversation. Okay, I'm happy to have that conversation. You're actually diverting. I just want to make a point of yourself and brothers. You are trying to direct the conversation in a different direction. I'm trying to find a baseline for our conversation, which is the definition of what Zionism is. And it's explain to you that it's highly offensive and intellectually dishonest to be able to label it the way it is. So why is it that you can espouse to be able to be a good interlocutor and appreciate that there's a need to be able to get to the root and the understanding of the word, but when it comes to Zionism, and 95% of the Jews identify as being Zionist, that you feel that you have the license and the gall to be able to say what it is without actually understanding what the the meaning is. Tell me what.
Yeah.
I just want to say something, right? When we dealing with person, we already established this.
David, hang on for a second. I appreciate you wanting to be able to chime in on this, but I'm honing in on something that's just typical.
Serving
Okay,
God.
where people using words,
He will return.
and they have no idea what they're talking about. Rabia, can you expand upon that? I'm asking you, why is it that you feel that it's unnecessary at all to be able to get to the root of this particular word? Why?
I mean, look, Zion, look. This is the reason why I use the term elite. Because anybody can be a Zionist from a certain specific standpoint. I'm targeting.
You can't, hang on, wait, I'm going to shut you up, okay? Because you're not going to do this to me. You're not going to waste the time, effort, and energy of this fucking room. Pardon my French. Right? Will you try and gish gallop and work around the direct question I'm asking you? Why is it that you feel that it's important to be able to be intellectually honest about getting to the root of a particular word, yet when it comes to Zionism, you don't feel as if you have the responsibility to be able to make sure that you are not offending other people? Okay, that's my question. Now answer it, please.
Yeah, I literally sat up here and said when I came on stage, elite. You heard that.
You're not answering my question.
I made it very clear.
I don't know whether you are intellectually challenged. I don't know if you're intellectually.
No, you want to ignore what I just said.
You are being deliberately evasive and really fucking annoying.
No, you literally ignored what I said when I first came up here. But it's all good.
Why is it hang on, the direct question I'm going to ask you for the third time. Why is it that you feel that it's important to be able to get down to the root of the word so that there's common understanding of language, but when it comes to Zionism, you choose to be able to make up your whatever meaning to it than what you feel it is.
I'm going to answer a direct question, and I'm going to give a three-dimensional question, a three-dimensional answer after that, if you can understand that. So directly, I'm not being intellectually dishonest at all. I'm not being intellectually dishonest, right?
So
Because
why don't you
all
look up
Zionism means is to be, from what I remember reading a long time ago, is that it is somebody that supports the state of Israel. Now, so that's what it means. But when I came on stage, bro, and this is the three-dimensional aspect, I mentioned the elitist. This is the reason why I even put in the chat before I came up in here that it's not about all Jews. It's about the elite status of the Jewish state of Israel that was established by the Balfour Declaration by the Rothschilds. All right, the same Rothschilds who bailed out fucking Trump in the fucking 90s. All right, but that's far beyond the point.
Do you actually understand how ridiculous you sound?
Oh my God, really?
Well, I don't know.
He got bailed out by he literally got bailed out by the Rothschilds in the 90s, dude. Like, you can go look this up for yourself.
Right, wonderful. You still haven't got to the point, which I asked. Okay, which I've been really direct about. You clearly don't want to engage in an intellectual conversation with me, an honest one. You're wasting my time and everybody else's time. Okay, your double standards are insane. Do yourself a favour, before you come off mute again, please go and have a look for the definition of Zionism. And I'll tell you when you're actually wrong, okay? Because the answer is this. Number one, it is the return of Jews back to their indigenous, native, and ancestral homeland, which is Israel. And number two is the right to be able to self-determine within that land. Now, if anybody at all has a problem with that definition, I'm more than happy to have a conversation. Yes, there are different types of Zionism that have appeared, but that is the root of what Zionism is. It's something that has been around since the year 70 AD as a practice of an indigenous native people who were dispersed from their native land.
I have a question for that.
Okay, so I have the etymology. Okay.
Hey, I got it. Hang on. Like I said to you, Hang on for a
So
second. Hang on.
what the brother
Let's
Rodney trying to say is,
hang on for just half a second. Rabia, what I said to you was very clear as an instruction said. If you come off your microphone, okay, and tell me that you can disagree with that, then that's fine. I want to see the reason. Okay, until that point in time, you're not going to waste the time, energy, and certainly not the excruciating levels of pain for people to listen to.
yeah, thank you.
Sheriff of
Now, I was
America.
going to be real short. Now, based off the definition you just read, you don't need to be a Jew to support Zionism. That's what Robbie was saying. A lot of the elites in the world support Zionism, and they're not Jews, because they also believe in the protection. Well, another thing, part of Zionism is definition is also you believe in the protection of the state of Israel as well. You support the protection of it. So, what do you think the American government giving money to them every year is about? Do you understand? So that's
that was the question. That was the question. Do I understand? Okay, what I understand is that you've used the term elites. Okay, sort of pointing towards there's a hierarchy of individuals that are elite Zionists. Let me tell you something. There's no such thing. Okay, 95% of Jews are Zionists. When you're referring to Zionists, you're saying the Jews. Okay, on the whole, yes, there are people who are not Jewish who are Zionists as well. Absolutely. And there's a number of them, thank goodness, who are clear in mind and understand the benefit, why they are actually in favour of supporting an indigenous native people who want to be able to return back to their homeland. I don't see what the problem is. Anyway, Marshall, welcome back. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, Marshall.
Let other people speak. Howdy.
Hey, Emma. How you doing?
Hey, Ro. Hey, everybody.
Let other people speak, but when it talks about Trump and his bailout in the 90s, I mean, my firm represented him back then, and there was like 7 banks involved, and it was leveraging them out of the Trump Castle and the Taj Mahal, and the Citibank, and Chase, Equifax banks. There were no Rothschilds. It's comical when you hear people say that shit. He really doesn't understand.
So good at
How
having
the
a
nature of
to
what was
do.
happening in
I
election
got
states.
to
And by the way, Rabia, just for your edification, the Rothschilds, by the way, haven't been a Jewish family for probably the last 70, 80 years. There's maybe one Jew left in the family at all. It's a Christian family. So,
The international banking cartel, Abby.
they're not
You brought that
Jews
up and not
anymore.
me.
They're not Jews anymore, Rabia. They're not. It's an intermarried Christian family, and Trump didn't get bailed out by the Rothschilds. I'm not triggered at all. It's just a subject I know firsthand. He did get bailed out by several different banks. There's about 7 lenders on the deal,
Yeah,
and they're you can see the
Yeah.
property.
that's not the information I have.
One of my buddies knows.
Wait, hold on. What information do you have? Because you talk as if you know anything. You claim to be Hebrew. You don't speak it. I'm just curious. Can you tell us, like, if we wanted to educate ourselves, to be fully educated, like you are, in the Scientology of the Hood called BHI, what book should we read that would help us learn what you've learned?
Let's see. Well, I can give you a couple of Luciferian books, what I'm saying, that these people study, but, it's all good. If you want to sit up here and talk about BHI.
I want to know where did you get your information from? I just want to understand where are you getting it from the Street Corner Prophets, or are you actually reading a book?
Maxwell? Have you ever heard of Jordan Maxwell?
Yeah, let's quote him. Give us a book that we should all take a look at from Jordan Maxwell. No? Not a book, huh? You had to Google it? Amazing.
No, I'm just laughing. I mean, because this, this shit is funny to me because it's like the information is readily available.
Interesting. Interesting. Hey, how about this? Talk to me again. I've asked you to do this earlier, but you refused. Can you explain how it is that you claim to be fluent in Hebrew, but you don't know how to speak it? Like, where's this contradiction? Why can't you read one single scripture to me in Hebrew?
Why would I sit up here and read in Hebrew when people don't? Most of the people in here don't even speak Hebrew.
Well, I think the point is, right? Like, if I were to ask somebody to sing, right? If they knew how to sing, they would sing, and if they didn't know how to sing, they wouldn't sing. And so, what we're really validating is that you don't know how to speak Hebrew. It wouldn't matter if we knew how to sing; we could just listen to somebody sing. So we want to listen. We want to listen to you, Dr. Jordan. You have to mute yourself. We just want to hear you speak Hebrew. You claim that you speak it, and if you called out, here's the thing: you would gain so much credibility. This whole room would go, "Wow, Mojo got punked. This guy really does speak Hebrew." We would all look like real big idiots if you just said a few things in Hebrew.
There's no point.
Yeah, so you don't speak Hebrew, clearly.
Oh, I do. So Ryan.
Gesundheit.
I don't speak any type of Hebrew. I'm actually just a pretty dumb American. However, I think that we're going to continue to see a lot more people speak up, like Rayaba, against the Zionist movement if things continue the way that they are with the elitism that he's talking about, how Americans are basically silenced, punished for speaking out against or wanting to hold Israel accountable for the things that they're doing. And the Zionism that I'm referring to isn't what, Mojo Jojo, what he was referring to, right? Like self-determination, yeah, I support that for anybody. But for any group of people, what I don't support is, like an ethno-state. I don't support particular people using crazy injustices to accomplish those things, right? Displacement, disenfranchisement, what's going on in Israel right now. You have Israel surrounding a 20...
Bima.
Sure.
Bima, 20% of citizens of the state of Israel are Arab. 20% of the country. They are full citizens with full voting rights. They serve in the government. They're ambassadors to other countries. They sit on the Supreme Court. They have full citizenship. That's Israeli citizens. 20% are Arab. So when you're talking about it, you have to be very clear, because within the country of Israel is a democracy with full citizenship rights of all nationalities. Now, if you're talking about your feelings towards a country that's an ethno state or a country that is controlled by a religion, I would tell you to look at the 57 Muslim countries in the world, or the Anglican Church country that's up in the top part of Europe. I mean, I'm not sure what your beef is. If it's a religion controlling a country, there's 57 Muslim countries. However, within Israel proper, within the nation of Israel, there are 20% of the citizens that are Arabs. They fight in the army. They're lawyers. They're doctors. They're on the courts mean, I'm not sure what you're stating, but it's not within the state of Israel.
Yeah, so basically you're saying they're Zionists.
Excuse me?
You think we're proving the point from the beginning. The God, that's why he read the definition of Zionism. And the point of the whole conversation at the beginning was, you don't need to be a Jew to support Zionism, to be a Zionist.
That's
And then
correct.
for reading us the stats on that.
There are
Now,
10 million evangelical Christians in the United States that are Zionists. 10 million
that's a fact.
evangelical Christians. They're amazing Zionists. They're stronger than a lot of the Jews in the U.S.
Now, I want to say this. Has anybody seen the videos of Netanyahu being interrogated by the International Criminal Court? You could look it up. It's
I
called the
think
BB
what Beamer was
files,
saying,
right?
Masada, can we go to that conversation just afterwards? I think Beamer's actually hit on something in terms of ethno-states. I want to maybe just have a look at why. Yeah, I'm curious, Beamer, if you want to respond to Abby, and maybe keep in mind that if people are against ethno-states, then they must also be against Armenia, Japan, Bhutan, Iceland. They'd be against a Kurdish state. They'd be against Catalonia, Basque. And also, as Abby was mentioning, that the vast percentage of Muslim countries, which there are 57 or thereabouts, are effectively ethno-states. If you want to talk to that, Beamer, then please.
And England, which is an Anglican church, controls.
Well, 98% of Japan is also Japanese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was historical process, naturally, not by force.
The real question is, should we have more?
Hang on, wait. I thought I was speaking to Beamer because she made a comment before. I want to be able to get to that. Beamer, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think when I was referring to the Zionism, right, because we were talking about that term, and I said I think a lot of people would define it as self-determination. So I think that's fair, but I think there's a lot of other people. I would say many others. Maybe it's I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you the percentage. I think other people take it as a threat because of what we're seeing Israel do to the Palestinian people, and specifically in Gaza and the West Bank, right? So I don't think, you have right now
What's the West Bank?
the West Bank, the other area of within
Do you mean
the
Judea
region.
and Samaria?
Judea and Samaria. The West Bank? I'm not sure what you mean. Like, why are you challenging me? You know what I'm talking about when I say the West Bank. Everybody knows that there's a West Bank that's out. That's not Gaza. That's in Israel. They refer to it. Everybody refers to it. So why are you trying to? What are you trying?
Be
factually correct. That's
There's areas A, B, and C. So what area?
Correct. C. Area C. Area C, where most of the taking over and the pushing out of the homes and the destruction of homes, the massive rebuilding without the right. They don't have a right. Israel doesn't have a right to do what they're doing in Area C, and they're doing it anyway. That's one. So Area C is what I was referring to. And then also what's going on with Gaza right now, where you have an entire population that is completely enclosed. These people have no opportunity to be self-sustaining in any way, where every type of electricity, water, aid, everything right now is completely controlled by Israel. What exactly is Israel's intention? What do they expect to happen right now?
Oh, wait.
I'm going to ask a question. Beamer, do you think it'd be fair to say that there has never been an opportunity for self-governance in Gaza?
An opportunity? Sure, of course there's an opportunity.
responsible for making the most of those opportunities.
Well, I think that's what the biggest argument is here, to go back to Rayaba's point, is that the United States has been so closely intertwined. Our governing system, we've supported Israel and this for what Israel is to do, not the Palestinians, but what Israel is to do since the very beginning. So going back to hold on, so let me finish. So he had mentioned the Balfour Declaration. We have AIPAC, which is just a constant congressional influence. If you look at any type of anything that has to do with Israel in the past even year, you're going to see an overwhelming majority of Republicans and Democrats voting in favor. I'm talking just small percentages of nays. Like you're talking like maybe seven Republicans and maybe 22 Democrats, right? That will be and hundreds of Republicans and Democrats in favor of. So
we're actually going off topic.
No. I just don't think that you like where I'm going. So hold on. Can I finish? Would you allow me to finish? My point is that the Zionism that we're referring to and the elitism is that the United States, all these other countries, okay, fine, whatever. We're talking specifically about Israel's actions and how how we are by default forced to support Israel. Billions in aid every single year. The United States is passing laws. Hold on, and I'll just give me 20 more seconds, and then I'll end.
No.
Give me 20 seconds.
Because you're actually dished out. I understand.
Okay, well then allow me to finish. Ro, you keep interrupting me, and I have ADHD, so every time you interrupt me, I lose my track of thought.
Now I'm going to interrupt. Here's the thing. This is what moderators do, is when somebody's carrying on and making thousands of points, in order to have a conversation, what you should do is make 1 point, maybe 2 points, then allow for somebody to respond to you. And I think that would be a much better way to hold a conversation. Nobody gets any value from somebody just going from topic to topic to topic to topic to topic. And then when you do bring something up that needs to be called out, which Ro was going to clearly do, he was going to interject and just ask you a simple question, which you wouldn't have known the answer to, and he would have proved his point. And so I know exactly where he was going. But how about this? Go ahead and finish 1 or 2 more points. Then Ro's going to go ahead and ask you a few questions, and the whole room is going to understand that you don't even know the topic that you're talking about.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. So all I'm saying is Rab was talking about the elitism, and I want to say that I think that is 100% what most Americans have issue with right now, because of the connection that Americans have by default to supporting Israel when we don't want to. We have to get right now what we're seeing, billions in aid that we have to give to Israel every year. The United States is passing laws to punish Americans who are boycotting Israel. We have blocks on international efforts if we want to hold Israel accountable, and like you see what just happened in Florida, right? People losing contracts because they refuse to sign contracts to say that they're not going to boycott Israel.
Was this your idea of 1 or 2 points?
No, this was just I'm trying to connect the elitism and Zionism together. I'm trying to say that when I'm talking about Zionism, I'm talking about what Israel is doing to Palestinians that Americans do not support, and the tie of our force to continue to support it through legislation, and then also our own punishment as Americans when we choose to boycott Israel.
See, I'm going to point something out here, okay? Lima, why I was trying to stop you like 5, 10, 15 minutes ago, whatever it was, because whether you realise it or not, and I've got a great deal of respect for you, I really enjoy listening to you a lot of the time, but you actually took a conversation in a direction, although I understand the direction you went in, but it was actually curtailing the initial question that I had asked. And that was, has there been opportunity, and if there has been, whose responsibility has it been